All right, this is my follow-up review on my Naturehike Cloud Up 2 Pro here. This is after 1,500 miles coming back from Arizona to Illinois and using this quite a few nights along the way. There are a few nights where I cowboy camped, but usually I set up the tent. It was also through several rainstorms overnight, and I would say some average winds in Kansas and the panhandle of Oklahoma. I had some windy days, and overall it did fine. The tent was okay. My concerns about the tent when I bought it, I still have. Some of the things I don't like about the upgrades, I still have. I'll go over those right now. My biggest issues are still the same as when I bought it and did the comparison video with the original Cloud Up 2. It's the size of these buckles that they put on, these tiny little buckles, especially in cold weather. These can be a little bit fiddly to mess with. And then the smaller grommets here. I just don't trust the material when they shrink. Thinner straps, smaller grommets, smaller buckles leave me feeling not as confident. And my least favorite thing is they took away the ability to tension the Rainfly. Now you just have these static loops, and while it seems fine right now, if you're familiar with tents, you don't always have perfect conditions to set it up, and you need to be able to stake it out somewhere else if there's tree roots or rocks, or the ground is just too hard packed in one spot and you need a little bit more slack to stake it in somewhere else. Also, when it's raining, this is 20D sil nylon, and so this is going to start sagging if it's raining for an extended period, and you can't pop out of the tent and pull some straps and tension it up. You need to restake it if you can restake it. So I think that was an extremely stupid move on Naturehike's part, is to take away the simple little tension device that they had on the 3 tie-out points on the Rainfly here, or stakeout points. This did do well though. It was in a pretty crazy rainstorm in the mountains in New Mexico. Did fine. I didn't have any leaks. I also use aftermarket tent stakes. I don't use the ones it comes with. I use these much beefier ones, and I can put a link in the description. Came with these nice, what would you call this, gunmetal, kind of silver black. I'm sure I would lose these pretty easy, but they're small. These are the tent stakes that I use. You can see the size difference, but these are aluminum. They're just almost like carnival tent stakes. The red makes them pretty much impossible to lose if you drop one on the ground. And these things have gone through some crazy soil, dirt, rockier stuff. I've had some bend at one point, and I just get a rock and, you know, bash the bend out of them. And for what I'm doing, I like having some beefier stakes that hold up in high winds. They can take a hit, they can take a little bend and get bent back, whereas these, once these things bend, they're pretty much shot. And the extra length allows them just to go in further and secure the tent down even more. So I just take the hit in weight and bulk and carry these beasts here. The biggest benefit of this new model, the Pro, is definitely the added height in the front for easier entry and exit, and also being able to sit up in the front. They also added 2 zippers. So on the Rainfly, the original model just has 1 zipper, and so you have one up here, which I can barely reach, but they have added this here, so you can zip this down some for airflow, and then they have this little dude you can add there to get a little bit of airflow coming through the top. One thing that stays the same for me on the original and the Pro model here is I never clip this to the tent pole, just because you see how much tension that's putting on the zipper here, and I started to have the zipper fail right around this area first, and so I just never use this one on either the Pro or the original. The Pro also has these little Velcro bits to attach the fly to the tent pole for a little added stability if it's windy and flapping. And so this is your biggest benefit using the Pro, is this extra head space right here. And I did like having the extra head space. In the original model, there would be fabric right about here cutting my head off from looking out. So I would often at night set up, or in the evenings, and then do my cooking while sitting like this. And that was, you know, it was nice. The vestibule space is enough for a couple of items. I could put a sport roller on each side and still have room to get out. And I didn't think I would use these. The old model had a ledge right here with, I wouldn't call it a pocket, but it had a little suspended piece of mesh you could set your phone on or whatever. This one has two pockets, one on each side, and I did find myself using these from time to time, mostly for like my toothbrush, toothpaste, whatever. This is nice in cooler weather, and it definitely came in handy because riding home was in cooler weather. The fabric right here, there is fabric all the way around, as you can see from this and from the clip earlier. And that means really no breeze hits you while you're laying down especially. And yeah, summertime, I think that's going to cause a great deal of discomfort. I wish they had kept a little bit more from the old model rather than making all the changes that they did for the Pro here. One thing that I did get, it's an aftermarket item, to try and fix the Rainfly issue that bothers me, is I found these on Amazon for 15 bucks for 4 of them, and I'll put a link down below. And what these are is a carabiner with that little, it's the same thing they had on the original model. Just one of these little dealios for tensioning rainflies, tarps, and the like. And so this here, I can just take these loops off, hook this on, and then I have the ability to tension the rainfly just like I used to, and also to have more wiggle room on where I stake the rainfly out at. It's hard for me to advise on this because everybody's different. If I were to buy this tent again, I would buy the original model. It did me great for almost a full year and a half. I had it up until the last 6 weeks of the journey. I didn't really have any issues with it, except for the zippers going out, but I could have solved that earlier on if I had replacement zipper sliders and just changed them out sooner, and I probably would have still been using that tent. I bought this one mainly because the zipper issue. But I mean, even having said that, if you get the Pro, it's still a good tent. It still is bomb-proof in the rain and stuff. You'll just have to either use some kind of extra rope setup to make your own tensioning system for the rainfly, or just get out and restake everything. Pull it back and stake it back in if you have the space and the ability to do that. And we'll just see how it goes as the temperatures warm up. I have a feeling it's going to turn into a sauna in there, and I'll probably break at some point and buy a tent with more airflow. This tent is definitely best for cooler temperatures, just the way they design the the inner and made the changes with the fabric. The original has no fabric on the door, and so you can angle it to get some breeze blowing in, open the front of the Rainfly, get some airflow. Not as much as other tents, but like summer tents, but still get something. And the Naturehike, I haven't done it on many occasions, but with the Cloud Up 2 Original and Pro, you can set up the Rainfly with the ground sheet and not the inner. You can do just the Rainfly ground sheet by itself, and that comes in handy for if you need some shade. Or I've done it before when I didn't need to use the inner. I was kind of like half cowboy camping, just to keep the dew off of my sleeping bag and make for a quicker pack up in the morning. Or if it's raining, you can do the Rainfly and ground sheet, and it's a little fiddly, but then you can take the inner, go inside the Rainfly here and hook it up and kind of like get the grommets on the tent poles, and then move your way back out the entrance as you're clipping it all up and setting up the inner to try and keep it dry. I've only done that once in the whole 10,000 miles. So yeah, I guess that's kind of all I have to say on this one. Yeah, still a good tent, still did well. It held up in winds, it held up in some crazy rainstorms overnight, and I'm gonna keep using it. It's retails for about $170 full price. You can find it on sale for $135. The original model, I don't know what the original sale price is, but I did, or the original price, I did see the sale price for like $108. And this is for the 20D nylon version, not the polyester, is it 210T polyester versions? And another great thing about the regular model and the Pro is it comes in this green color here is just awesome for stealth camping. I tuck this in so many spots. I even had another cycle tourist at one point comment on like how well blended in my tent was to the surroundings when we were camping out in some spot up in Montana, I forget. But yeah, all in all, it's a pretty good tent. I just don't like some of the things they changed on it. And yeah, I think that's about it. If there's anything that I missed or questions or something, feel free to fire off anything in the comments and let me know, and I'll answer as best I can. The Naturehike Cloud Up 2 Pro.